Welcome. What's up, guys? Happy Sunday, happy weekend. I hope you guys had a great week and also a great weekend so far. Yeah, it's new time. I'm going to... Hey, Sarav, welcome in. I'm going to start doing these streams on Sunday. Yeah, I'm going to start actually including more content even during these streams, which may include a little bit of my weekly performance analysis, which eventually I'm going to also do more content about it. And yeah, it's a way actually to actually take the full day off on a Saturday, not really looking at trading. So I've been doing the streams on Saturday, which was something that I wanted to do in terms of weekly market analysis. So it will be one of the tasks for the weekend. We'll again check this done straight away first thing on Saturday. But now I'm going to actually start doing it on Sunday evening, 6 p.m. maybe okay. Let me guys know if maybe the time, if you prefer a different time. But yeah, at least everyone is starting to get ready for the week. So that's yeah, it's another way to do it. And yes, now after the if it is in the evening, usually I do my trading journal more on Sundays morning. So yeah, I'm going to actually be able to start sharing a bit more. Also that data, not today, but something that I will start sharing also with the Notion trading journal that I'm creating, something that I want to yeah, just to let you guys know how I do my own weekly review and monthly review as well, eventually. So yes, so yeah, welcome everyone. Again, in this session we're going to take a look at different assets. We go from FX to indices to commodities and crypto. Basically, we are trying to find what are the or where are the best opportunities for the week ahead, and that's basically it. Feel free to share any levels that you consider that they are important. We can discuss about it, and yeah, if there's any specific asset that I don't really cover, if you feel free to share it on chat, and I can go over it. Yeah, if you are new, feel free to subscribe. Again, it goes from educational content, which if you ask me a specific question, I may spend a bit of time explaining some kind of concept, or the way I'm looking at a certain aspect of trading, or just general analysis and trying to find the opportunities in here. Which actually this week, a lot of the work that the webinars and the sessions that we did with the traders was to focus on how to trade all-time highs. Okay, that was actually one of the topics of the week that we cover within our community. Again, if you are interested, I will start sharing those links as well for anyone that would like to be more active and present and to receive the daily calls, weekly webinars, and yeah, we do like 12-14 sessions per week, live with our traders. Aside from sharing out the setups that we look for. Okay, it's much more than just looking for setups. It's more about accountability, performance, and stuff like that. Okay, but yes, so basically one of the main topics, and this I believe is quite relevant, which eventually we're going to actually make a video about it as well, to share, which is to talk about all-time highs. Why is it relevant? Again, basically we are looking at the indices, S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, DAX. They've been trading at all-time highs for now a few months. Bitcoin just last week or 10 days now broke all-time highs, and maybe Ethereum eventually is going to get there as well. Gold as well just broke all-time highs, right? So the market is in this unique situation, trading at all-time highs in many different assets, and it's important to be aware of it and maybe to adjust how to potentially trade those assets. Again, if you even trade those assets, right? If you're just focused on FX, maybe don't really have any FX pair at this point, trading at all-time highs. Dollar yen was getting closer to it. It's moving down again. Yeah. Yeah, that's, for example, that's one of the good questions, right? Sort of like, so while trading at all-time highs, where do you place a stop loss? Like, it's the idea to place above or below zone instead of highs or lows, right? Yeah, that's one of the, that's a good relevant question, and I presume that you are asking that question with the mindset of looking for reversals, which is straight away one of the main differences you need to pay attention to, which is, are you more of a counter trend trader or a reversal trader? Right? Again, if you are a counter trend trader, you are going to be approaching all-time highs. It's with the mindset of continue and expecting or hoping to continue to see price moving higher in this particular case, right? To continue to rally, and and who knows where it's going to, right? Until eventually it stops, it starts to moving down. Like, while on the opposite side, if you are a reversal trader, you are going to maybe try to see or try to identify where maybe those reversal points are going to be, which can be quite hard to do, because again, one of the main differences between all-time highs and any other moment in the market is we don't have any data on the left side, okay? And anyone that is looking or mainly looking to create their own strategy based on price action, technical analysis, like, one of the most important points that we need is data, right? And data is by looking left. That's where we should be making our own, or starting to look to create our own bias, is by what's going on the left side, where price is actually reacting from. Okay, that's actually one of the first questions that I always ask when I'm analyzing the market is, where is price coming from? That's the first one. Second one is actually where this price wants to go to, and that's always a little bit looking left, and then where is price actually at the moment. But yes, paying attention to where price is in regards to the left side, that's data and information that we need to gather, right? And when you're trading all-time highs, you don't have that information. We don't have it, right? And that's why we need to start being a bit more cautious in terms of trading or trying to predict the top. Like, maybe that's one of the mistakes that maybe some people do, is to try to predict where is the top, where is the peak in this trend, and hopefully they are going to eventually get it, and price will just start moving lower from there. Which, again, I wouldn't really create my bias or my approach at in this particular moment like that. Okay, I will be actually quite cautious with trading or trying to predict the top. Okay, of course you can trade the highs, but it's one thing to trade the highs expecting just a small retracement, and actually still expecting and having that bias behind your like your main bias to still expect price to create and to carry on going higher and to create all-time highs, instead of just trying to short the top and expecting price to just crash from there and not to create any all-time high. Okay, so yeah, that's one of the main chips that you need to do at this point. So any shorts is always with a conservative target and not really expecting price to move much lower than that, and always expecting price to create new highs until we actually start seeing some weakness. Okay, and that's one of the points that we need to start looking for. Okay, it's trying to identify where is the weakness in price in here. Yeah, so we need to try to find those spaces that are available. But again, this is where I mean to be a little bit conservative, is even if you have the space, for example, even if there is a low being broken, it doesn't really guarantee that price will just fill that space straight away. Okay, and this is a little bit of the challenge or the way you can be a little bit more defensive with your own trading when trading at all-time highs. Always, at least myself, I'm always expecting new highs to be created. Okay, so I want to actually kind of get maybe an extra confirmation that price is actually getting weak in order to actually then fill that space, and you start having those exactly moments on NASDAQ, S&P, and so on. Okay, and DAX is still not there, but Dow, S&P, NASDAQ, as I'm going to demonstrate in a bit, that's something that we start having. Okay, those are one of the moments in there. And yeah, for example, Bitcoin, of course, trying to understand a little bit the asset itself in terms of the volatility, how crazy it may be. It's maybe even harder to look for a short. Actually, we're looking for shorts this week, and I'm going to try to explain why we're looking actually for shorts on crypto. This week, actually, our main focus was on the indices and crypto, looking for some reversals in here. FX, dollar, we're expecting a bit more of a momentum. That's something that we were looking for this week that just passed by, and we had that momentum. It took a little bit of time, but we had it. Of course, focus also, it was on the pound with all the news that were occurring on the pound dollar in the UK this last week. and that was mostly the focus. But actually where we're spending more of our energy was to look for shorts on the indices, and in particular Ethereum as well. And then Bitcoin also presented a great opportunity to look for sales, which next week again we are going to start diverging a little bit. It's going to be maybe focus again on the yen pairs. It's going to be a quite important week next week, with many central bankers announcing their interest rate. We can actually go to the calendar in here. Okay, so we're going to have Australia announcing again, all of them expecting this to remain the same rates, except the Japan. Okay, because of all the situation with increase of inflation in Japan, and in particular now this deal that was going on between the unions and the companies in Japan in terms of the wage growth, which we are looking at the historical, comparing the last 30 years, an historical agreement of highest wage growth in Japan, which is going to continue to force the inflation in Japan to continue to increase. And it looks like the BOG is under pressure to finally cut this minus 10%. Okay, I don't even know why the forecast is still minus 10%, when basically there have been already news that there is a high probability that this rate is going to actually stop being negative and is going to be at least neutral or starting to be positive. At least goes to zero or maybe positive. We will see. So expect a lot of volatility on the ends. And if this actually number starts to be positive, that's in theory is going to represent a strong yen. Like it's going to maybe support a bullish yen from here, and also maybe a big outflow of capital, because many hedge funds and institutional firms have been taking advantage of this negative interest rate in Japan. So that's going to be a big shift that we are looking for, and therefore we need to pay attention for the yen pairs next week. It's going to be quite important, and you are actually having this good retracement close to the lows, which may originate a great opportunity to again look for longs on the yen index, which means looking for sales on the yen pairs in general. Again, Australia, we already talked about it. Again, of course, Fed meeting on Wednesday. That's going to be a relevant one. Again, no expectations of interest rate cuts, but this Fed meeting is going to be also the forecast, right? So it's going to be the economic projections, which yeah, by the way, guys, can you hear the train when it passes by? I could just moved in recently, like 1 month ago, and now my house is close to a train track, and just let me know if you listen to the train when it passes by, or if my sound filters in my microphone actually managed to remove almost that noise. But yeah, the Fed, again, one of the main important parts is going to be what projection that the Fed is going to do until the end of the year, and then eventually for 2025, but mostly until the end of this year, in particular to focus, of course, how many rate cuts are they expecting as we see. Okay, again, last week we had the inflation, which was once again higher than expected, not just the CPI but also PPI, and that's a concern. And that's why I was looking actually to look for shorts. I was expecting the data not to be that positive, and as we'll see, starting to see some lows being broken on NASDAQ, which was something that we're looking for in here. Okay, so the projections are going to be playing a big role. The projections that they did in December, they are starting to play out. The market ignored the projections that the Fed did in December. That's why many times we're looking for the market to already see rate cuts in March or in May. It's not going to happen. It's actually more towards the summertime, and yeah, that's going to be an important one, of course. And then the Q&A as well, because for sure they're going to ask him what kind of data is the Fed expecting to see in order to start feeling confident to start reducing the rate cuts. Okay, that's going to be mostly the topic of the interest rate. So again, expect volatility on the dollar around that time, of course indices as well. And then it doesn't stop there, right? We're going to have also in the UK, in Switzerland, and so on. So it's going to be a busy week, which is something that we of course like to see. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in there. Yeah, that's basically in terms of the news that we're going to look at. So yeah, let's start with the dollar, and then when we get to the indices, I'm going to go back a little bit to the topic of trading all-time highs in here. Okay, so yeah, the dollar, like, so again, last Friday with the non-farm payroll, not this Friday, like the previous one, we had the NFP, right? And basically we created this low in here. And yes, again, it was not my favorite low, I have to be honest. I would eventually be totally okay if price would feel this compression, but in reality, if you look at the daily time frame, that's a valid low. Is basically the last level in here that created this push to the upside in there. So that's ended up being a valid one, and we need to be aware of that, at least be aware that price indeed can start retracing from here, okay? Because this was the level, we managed to break out the structure, we created out this big momentum to the upside. There's definitely all these lows that never really reacted from there, therefore it becomes at least relevant on the bigger scale. The lower time frame, yeah, not my favorite, but apparently it was enough to push now the dollar to the upside, and that's a bit how we started to position ourselves as well. In here, okay, so we start to have that move. Again, there was kind of two levels that we were looking for as well. A little bit of this zone in there, price ended up reacting from it, and then again from here I was still not really 100% sure if price was just starting to move lower or not, or it start to turn and eventually move higher, and then you kind of have that good reaction from here, and eventually price just moves to the upside, which may go a little bit more to the upside from here at this point. Again, the dollar, to be honest, I am still not really sure what is going to be the overall direction. I mentioned that bigger picture, we did manage to break to the upside. Okay, that has been already a few weeks ago when we did have that move in here, which could be a break to the upside. In the bigger picture, eventual price can go a bit closer to this level. But meanwhile, in the shorter time frame, as we described, we started to break these lows, and there was at least this target to look for, and eventually price actually broke below it, and now it's reacting from here. So yes, bigger picture, we can eventually go a little bit higher. In the lower time frame, we may actually go first lower, maybe retesting a little bit of this level. My favorite target from this move down, it would have been actually to go all the way, take these lows and get closer to something in here before then moving to the upside. So yeah, we still don't really have that in there. Price just decided to pause in there, which is okay. To be honest, looking at the dollar index and euro dollar, I've been liking a little bit more where the euro dollar has been reacting from, comparing with the dollar index, and we can maybe take a look into it in a bit in there. So yes, we broke to the upside to this level. We may go a little bit more to the upside in here. Maybe that's how we're going to open tomorrow. At this point, we are still respecting this level, so everything is okay in there, and maybe have a little bit more of a continuation to the upside on the dollar index, and you'll see how we're going to be reacting from here. We may have this level left behind in here, just in alignment with this structure as well. If by any chance the dollar wants to have a retracement back into this level, I prefer to see a little bit more of a few highs being created before maybe retracing down and continue to go higher. But we are definitely in the middle of all the levels that we are looking for, which creates a little bit of indecision, because price at this point, I could see it going and feeling different types of spaces in here without really being 100% bias. On the euro dollar, for example, and even maybe on the pound, I'm a bit more bullish, to be honest. Not bullish, bearish, which makes me bullish on the dollar in here. It's a bit more clear, mostly. Yes, we do have now this previous level of support resistance somewhere in here. Maybe price can react a little bit from that level, and we'll see if price does want to retest to this level once again, or starting to challenge a bit more into this level in here. So that will be something interesting to look for. Would I be looking for sales if price does get closer to this level? Not 100% sure. I'll need to see a proper PA of reverse before maybe moving, kind of looking for that. Otherwise, I will just now respect this break in here, and maybe eventually, if price starts to get closer to this level, I'm actually just expect price to continue to move higher and respect the break of the structure into here, and maybe getting eventually closer to that level. Let's see if price gets eventually in there. We have this zone in here that it looks like it's a valid supply, valid key zone. which at this point can actually be used eventually as a long instead of a short, okay? Instead of maybe price respecting this level and moving lower from here, it may react a little bit and then price actually can break it and now use this level as a continuation to the upside for price to get closer to that level. That's usually something that tends to happen as well when you see these clear levels, but they are a bit in the middle. Yeah, they do end up reacting the opposite way that most people tend to look at it, which is once again, instead of a short, actually wait for it to break and then eventually around that level, you're actually going to see price reacting from it and moving on to the upside. So that's just a potential opportunity, depending on how price may react from there, to pay attention to in there. So yes, again, and that's why my bias was a bit more, especially last week, looking more for the indices and eventually actually crypto, in particular Ethereum. It was literally on my bias, and you're going to understand why in a bit as well. Again, my approach is more looking for high probability setups. Okay, that's how I'm positioning myself, especially this year. I'm looking for high probability setups. I don't care if it is on euro, if it is on the major pairs, minor pairs, crypto indices, commodities. I don't care. Okay, it's whatever is literally standing out to me. I see some weakness, I see price losing strength, I see price getting really close to a good level, and that's what I'm going to be looking for. Okay, so yeah, if I don't really even focus on the majors, I don't focus on the majors. I couldn't care less. And then of course starting to look at the news also and to see where maybe I'm expecting more volatility on that specific asset for next week, and try to find opportunities if they are, of course, price is at a good level and in there. Okay, so that's a little bit of how I'm positioning myself at this point. Yeah, so again, we'll carry on. Again, we'll see, like we have maybe this level, we have a few levels, we have this level in here. Okay, price may react a little bit from something in here. If we create a good structure in there, maybe price can react from it. Moving lower, we have this level in there. Below this low, is not really sure if there's anything in here that maybe price can still react from. If price by any chance gets closer to this level, I'm just expecting price then to carry on and finally fill this range and go to the opposite side. If price starts moving upwards again from here, not really sure if I'm going to be looking for any shorts in here. I'm actually going to expect for it to break and maybe resume the move upwards and maybe getting closer a bit more to this extreme, which at this point everything has been maybe already touched, and maybe can respect the move upwards in there. So depending on how price may go in here, we'll see. Maybe shorts around this level. If there's any good PA in here, maybe yes. If price just continues, then just let it run more to the upside. If price by any chance retraces in here, but maybe respects this level and then goes higher, this level in here becomes even more interesting, because now we have a closer low to the structure, which eventually can be faked out and then eventually can happen like this. Okay, for example, that could be a level to see price reacting to on Wednesday during the FOMC. If price by any chance opens a little bit to the downside, doesn't really come closer to this level, it pauses in the middle, starts going higher, and we leave this low behind, that's a good level maybe to look for the FOMC meeting, if then the dollar goes down by any chance and goes higher in here. Okay, so that could be eventually a setup to look for. Okay, so again, just a few levels on the dollar to look for in here. Yeah, feel free to share like your bias for the dollar. Yeah, I'm all ears as well. Moving along, let's take a look at this. Okay, let's take a look at the indices first. All right. Right, and the S&P in here, it tricked me a little bit, okay? Because depending on the data that you are looking for, it either broke the high or it respected the high. Okay, and this was a bit tricky for me, I have to admit it. I was always wondering, did it broke, did it didn't? Try to find out which data to trust in this particular aspect. Regardless of it, like if you are just looking at the PA around this level, it's a beautiful PA. Okay, we have the structure in here, we have literally the liquidity and everything. We start breaking lows, we have everything in there, right? It was literally just about this one in here. Even if you are looking at this one, it's more of the same. Okay, you have enough liquidity created in here, okay, that you start paying attention to. You have starting to see lows being broken, and then you had the fake out. So yeah, in that aspect, it was great, the PA to turn. And something else that you're looking in here, right? And this can be also, yeah, let's start talking about all-time highs. All right. Okay, so all-time highs, okay? And again, the main difference, you can apply this also in whatever I'm going to now talk about. Even in situations where we are not at all-time highs, but at least you have a bias, at least you should be looking for those reversals, or for price to get closer to those reversals if we are close to a zone on the left side that you like, okay? Either maybe a support resistance, maybe a level of supply, whatever it may be, like you want to see price starting to show this weakness that I'm going to talk about closer to these levels that you think may be relevant and that price usually tends to react from before turning, okay? Whatever level you look for. Okay, but this is my approach to all-time highs. Again, I'm a counter-trend trader. That's usually a bit more of the way I'm looking at the market, and I'm just talking purely in terms of trading, not investing. If you are looking for buy and hold for a while during these periods of all-time highs, it's a completely different approach. That's not what I'm talking about right now. But if you are a trader, if you are more looking for intraday setups, maybe for a few days in here, either if you are a trend continuation trader, just reverse engineer basically my thought process when you are looking to continue to look for longs. If you are a counter-trend trader and if you are looking to potentially look for sells at the highs, this is mostly what I'm going to be looking for. Okay, so again, the way price usually moves, like one thing is if price is creating a lot of momentum, and you can basically see that price is creating new all-time highs. The retracements are quite small, maybe 28 point something, like 32.2%. Even if you use kind of a Fibonacci to see the retracement, they are quite small, okay? And all of a sudden you create a new high, and price just creates another big momentum, and anytime kind of is a retracement, another big high. And if price keeps moving like this, there is no point whatsoever for you to look for sales, okay? Just let price go, be patient. Don't even think about selling in this particular point. If you are looking for longs, yeah, maybe try to find some kind of entry for you to jump into these opportunities for you, and the way you can manage it, maybe just trail stop, whatever it may be. Anytime there is a new low, just try to trade your stops like that, okay? But that's phase one, okay? Don't even think about shorting in here. But what price tends to do now is eventually starts to show a little bit more of weakness, okay? The retracement starts to maybe being closer to this previous level of support resistance. Okay, maybe price starts to get a little bit closer, at least in here, at least retest this level and goes up again. Okay, and then maybe even goes back in here, and then starts going a little bit in here, and then eventually it's going to start, anytime kind of starts going higher, it starts to have a little bit more of a deep retracement. And now it doesn't even stop in here, it actually now goes directly into the demand zone. And now it goes up again. And when it starts going up again, instead of creating straight away big momentum to the upside, it may actually just break the high a little bit and back into it. Okay, so it starts to show a little bit more of weakness. Okay, weakness is the key word in here. We are going to start looking for weakness and price in order to help us to understand if the sellers are starting to be a little bit more in control, not in control, but at least there are some sellers at this level, or if the buyers are completely still in control in here. Okay, so you want to start seeing that. How can you identify weakness? Again, if price is just moving like this, there's basically no weakness in there. If price starts to retrace a bit deeper, getting closer to the previous low, that's show a little bit of weakness, that the sellers are not as kind of starting to fight this zone, and the buyers are starting to disappear from here. And then another factor, again, one is a deep retracement, another one is just a small break of a high, and then price starts to move again in here. Okay, so again, price may just retest a little bit, and you start having a little bit of this type of compression happening in here. Okay, until eventually the next point that you want to look for is eventually for finally a break of a low. An important low. Okay, this is one of the points that you want to start looking for. You want to start noticing an important break of a low. Until that happens, for example, until this happens, even if you are considering any sell opportunity from these highs, you shouldn't even consider to look for a bigger move than at least this low in here. Okay, there is no point in looking for anything bigger than, like, if you are looking for this as a target, yeah, I think you are just, yeah, you have your expectations are just way too crazy in here. Okay, so you basically maximum you are looking for the retest of this low, maximum in here. Otherwise, yeah, until when you finally start seeing this low being broken, that's maybe a different question. Okay, this starts to demonstrate that in the bigger picture, maybe price is getting closer to a potential reversal in here. Okay, again, price can still break new highs. Assume that price will still create some kind of manipulation. It's still going to even collect liquidity from above these highs, maybe even with some momentum, and then eventually price can start turning again. Okay, again, first target just this level. Okay, don't even consider it at this point which you're looking for it, but you actually you can start thinking about it, but still be conservative and maybe just at least look for a target in here. And based on the way price reacts in here, maybe you can look for a further move to the downside, or eventually just get out and maybe look for that opportunity to maybe yeah, just let price go higher again. If you are a trend continuation trader, in these opportunities, yeah, go long, maybe in the retest of this level or at this level, go long in there. Okay, when you start seeing this weakness being printed, this is when you want to start actually being a bit more cautious and actually maybe wait for these deep retracements before looking for that long and that continuation. And if you start noticing this break of a low, be cautious with trying to then hoping for price to continue to just rally. Okay, there is a chance that price actually can just retrace straight away and get closer to this level. So this is the moment that maybe you can start actually looking for targets, maybe just on the retest of this size, or take most of your position in here. And if prices break above it, okay, perfect, you can maybe start trading it. But price starts to show a little bit this hand, and the sellers are starting to be in control, at least showing some presence at this point. Yes, and then price may just continue to go higher from here. Maybe again, if you do break this low again, this is going to be a second break of a low in a higher time frame, and this is maybe when you are getting closer to a shift like this. Okay, where is the target? Maybe it will be just some whatever level which is left behind in here that price still needs to fill. And from here, maybe yes, now maybe it's free to resume the move to the upside. And this is where trying to see where the space is available for your initial trade in here. Okay, and that's basically a little bit how you can approach it in here. Be conservative, be aware of what kind of targets you are looking for, and try to see some weakness. Now, if you're looking at the real examples in here, okay, and yeah, this is literally kind of a good example on the S&P, and then you can compare with NASDAQ as well, and a little bit with Dow if you want to. Okay, for example, if you recall, a few weeks ago, this was a target that you're looking for. Okay, you're looking for that sell opportunity. Of course, something else that you want to look for. Okay, in the lower time frame, when you are actually getting closer to this highs or something like this, you want to start noticing also that PA to reverse. Okay, and answering your question at this point, where to place your stop loss, you can maybe just place your stop loss above the high in here. Okay, because you want to see already price giving a lot of signals of reversal, and then yes, then you can maybe just place your stop loss above this level. Don't really need to, again, it's a gamble even to expect anything else. Again, you don't have anything on the left side, so you can just place your stop loss in there. But the main point is look for that weakness, look for a lot of weakness on price when you're looking for that in here. So yes, a few examples, like that was one of them. You're looking for price to react from here. Yes, another point is try to identify which target you can maybe look for in a higher time frame in here. Okay, so we're starting to see the turn. We had the turn, and then we had that reaction. Price reacted perfect from there. It went higher again, starting to range a little bit from here. This is a typical reversal pattern that you can look for. Price break a little first and fake out, and we had a target also on the test of this price. This is now the new open space in here. Price respect the low, so I'm not really looking for any buys for any sells at the highs. Again, I want to see the low being broken first. It didn't happen there. Then you have another one in here. Okay, again, kind of price respected the low again a little bit in here. This is where the data on S&P was a bit tricky, because in some of them, as you can see in here, we did manage to fake out the highs one more time. Another one you kind of respected still the high, but again, we had a great PA just next to the high in order to look for that reversal. So that also can help a little bit in terms of, do you want to still trade above the high, kind of within the high or not. But in general, if the low is not broken, the high probability is actually going to create a new high in here. Okay, so as you can see, you start having these deep retracements happening in here, and eventually you are going to see maybe some of those lows being taken. What's another aspect that you want to find out if you are considering any sell at the highs in here, okay, is the way price actually is moving to the downside. Did price left any level left at around this level, okay, whatever 2-3 levels that you consider that price usually retraces and reacts from, are those levels still fresh, yes or no? What do I mean? Okay, so basically the way price moves away, eventually you're going to have the extreme in here, maybe some level in here that usually price tends to react from. Did price reacted from them on the way down? So as price now is moving to the downside, did price retrace from here? Okay, did it touch both of those levels and then move lower, which is basically these levels have already been taken, so they are weak? Or did price move the other way around? Price kind of got closer to there, didn't really touch them and just moved to the downside, created actually maybe some structure in here that eventually can be used as liquidity in the future in here to move to the downside again, like so. Is this still fresh, yes or no? That's another good aspect to pay attention to if you are even considering to sell at the highs in there. Okay, perfect. Again, even if those levels are still fresh but the low is respected, okay, price can still react from it, but this is the question of where is your target? Be careful with your target at this point, because the low was respected. There's high chance that, as I mentioned, price still wants to create a new high. It can still react from here, but maybe the next level is maybe just the next level that was broken in there, and from here maybe price can again just react from here and go higher. So yes, it's a big difference between this level, just targeting there, or if this low is actually broken, now you can look for a target further down. It's a big difference in there, something that you need to pay attention to in terms of managing your expectations of the setup in here, okay? And that's kind of what we start to have in here on the S&P. Eventually price went higher, as I mentioned, price starts to show some weakness in here, and you have the turn in there at the highs. And yeah, since then it was yeah, we'll see. Now it just broke this low. It's kind of still tendency to continue to see price going a bit more to the downside. This is kind of still the same story in here. Yeah, price respected that level, so we'll see now maybe basically around in here what price is going to do at around this level. And if you look at NASDAQ, okay, NASDAQ had this level, and see the difference is that this low created on the 11th of March, price respected the demand. The low created on the 11th of March, price broke this low in here on NASDAQ, and that's why we're looking for sales. And if you pay attention also, what's going on in here is that in the bigger picture, NASDAQ had already started to break some structure in here, some mid-range structure in here, that NASDAQ started to print some lows in here. So it started to show indication that wants to start going lower, even if it continues to go higher, even if this low is still respected one more time. So it respected, we have the highs being created, but the weakness is already starting to be there. Okay, the retracements, they start to be quite deep as well in here. Okay, again, another aspect is that basically price has been so bullish for so long that eventually we are going to expect some kind of retracement as well. Okay, so that will be another aspect to look for. For example, in the bigger picture, we can maybe even retrace and retest this previous high in here before continuing to move higher. That will mean kind of around 8% retracement or 7% retracement on NASDAQ. Okay, yeah, it's around 9%, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, around 8.5, maybe 9% maximum. Okay, and that's comparing with the big rally that NASDAQ had in here. It's almost not that much, right? Just from the end of October, we kind of rally basically 30% in here. Okay, so yeah, we may have a little bit of retracement maybe before continuing to go higher in here, but this is a really good PI to turn. As you can see, you start having some lows being broken. We had another low being broken. We have a beautiful PI in fake out in here, and actually I was looking for price actually to get a bit more in there. It didn't. It just stopped a bit more on the base of this level, and since then it started to move to the downside in here. It even broken this upper trend line that we have in there. What's good about actually this level is that this level is still fresh as well. Okay, so even if price by any chance now breaks the low, confirms, and maybe wants to fill this range for now, if by any chance if it retraces and if it reacts from here, there's still a chance that price can still react from there and move lower. This level is still fresh. We have now a high to fake out, and price can still go and react from there. So at this point, yes, if by any chance we have a deep retracement on the NASDAQ, I will be looking for sales in there with the expectation maybe eventually to fill all this level. But for now, the target is also somewhere in here on NASDAQ at this particular point. Okay, so again, this may take time. There was opportunity to sell it in there. There was opportunity to sell it in there. There were some opportunities to sell as price is moving lower, and we covered them in the last few weeks. Yes, this is a way to look for those reversals, kind of as I mentioned. And there are no other moments where price will not really be in that level. So let it start creating this weakness. Okay, start creating this and to demonstrate this kind of PI, this weakness in here. Dow, what we also mentioned on the Dow, right? Dow had already broken this low in here. We now continue to move higher. At this particular point, we kind of respected this demand zone, and we're looking for that reaction at the extreme. We mentioned that level was still fresh, and the way price actually start moving here is to start showing some signs of wanting to go down. We break a low, we broke another low in there until we eventually got to the extreme in here. Oops, in there. Okay, and this is also kind of what we mentioned in terms of creating enough room in there. So we had another break of a low, and then you have the spike into the level, and that's basically what happened on the Dow in here. Okay, now yes, price did respect a little bit of this demand. I've been mentioning that this is one of the lows that I've been looking for. So, and if you followed the previous streams, you notice that I've been a bit more bearish, or not more bearish. Like I mentioned, that Dow is starting to demonstrate some more reversals in comparing with the other indices. Thanks for the subscription. All the best, man. Thank you so much, and welcome to the channel. Yeah, if I'm talking too much, feel free to ask questions. Feel free to ask me if I want me to repeat something. But yeah, I think this is an important topic in terms of trading all-time highs, especially for anyone that is interested in trading these assets, indices, or Bitcoin as well, as we've seen a bit. Yeah, just something to bear in mind. So yes, Dow, we're looking a little bit more of as a bearish. Price has already broken that low, even though now it's respected in here. And yeah, it respected perfectly that level, where we have kind of these equal lows that we can eventually move lower as well. So yeah, interesting move in here as well, and we'll see if price does break it and confirms to move down. All this when you had the big news of CPI, okay, which again, eventually we're starting to see that the CPI data is not really moving as well, kind of to downside as maybe the market is looking for. It's a bit more sticky than expected, and yes, that was the reaction. Even on Tuesday, when you actually had the CPI data and price ended up moving to the upside in here, so price spiked down and it went higher, we talked with our traders and we mentioned that yeah, be careful, maybe this is just a reaction for price to get closer to the highs before then actually being able to fill and to move lower. Okay, don't really react to it as a bullish reaction. The way price is interpreting the data from the CPI, the reaction was actually short first, then went higher, and it was just an opportunity for price to move a bit more higher, which can be the same example on the N pairs right now. Okay, so the conversation about changing change of the fiscal policy finally to monetary policy, sorry, of the rates, that can actually lead, and we have actually seeing now this moving down, this can actually just be for price to accumulate more orders in here at the lows before actually moving to the upside again, especially if there is a confirmation of the rate change in Japan. But yeah, that's just something to bear in mind in there. And then these guys, in this particular case, Dow, right? Dow, it's another, not Dow, DAX. DAX is another one that we've been following. Let me just delete this part in here. Okay, so this is another one that we have been following, another one that is at all-time highs, and this is another one that we've been trying to see when to try to catch the reversals in here. Okay, so we're starting to look for some reversals. It was in there. It was initially in here. Okay, in price, I did mention this level. This low reacted from a valid level, not this low. This for me was an engulf down. Sorry, this for me was actually price reacting from something important. Then we had again the break to the upside. We had a little bit of retracement. We have another target in here that we are looking for. price respected one more time, and another move to the upside. And now it starts to range a little bit. Okay, this is another thing that you want to see at all-time highs. Okay, by mentioning weakness is actually to start seeing price moving a bit more horizontally, where you can have that eventually reverse in here. But you need to be aware also where price is reacting in here. Okay, so it reacted from that level, previous level support resistance, that's a valid target in here, and now price is just trading within this level. Yeah, we can have one more high being created in here at this point. So even though these lows basically broke the other lows, like these lows, they broke these lows, in reality price is actually reacting from this next level. It's a valid target in here. There's no engulf down. We can actually go into the war time frame, and you see there is a demand zone in alignment in there. Perfect reaction on the DAX after breaking these highs. Yep, this is a target. Maybe expect price to go higher again. It's not exactly an engulf down in here. So yeah, that's a level, and we're going to continue to monitor DAX until eventually we're going to have that move or that reversal happening in here. Yeah, that's just going to be another one that you can track in here. So yeah, that's a little bit of how I've been approaching it. Okay, literally waiting for weakness, waiting for this kind of PA to occur, some ranging market until you have a break to the lows, and then kind of fake out, and the price tends to repeat itself quite regularly like that. It just requires patience, but you can see it happening quite often. And yeah, if price does respect something, forget about maybe selling a double top. This is something that you guys need to be aware of. Okay, be careful with selling double tops in this case in here. Okay, there's an opportunity maybe to try to sell the top in here as it's being created. It's a different story if you're trying to sell then the reaction and the double top in there. Maybe again similar to what happened now on the NASDAQ, or sorry, in the S&P or on the Dow. Okay, again, we need those levels still to be fresh in here to be able to kind of sell that in there. But yeah, that's a little bit of how I've been trying to look at that in here. All right, moving along, looking at the Euro Index. Okay, again, just summarize. Yes, I'm still looking for shorts on the indices. Euro Index, we are moving to the upside in here. I'm curious actually to see how price may react from that level. We had a little bit of a retracement in this level. Maybe that's enough, maybe it isn't. Okay, again, something that usually price to do is eventually when it's turning, it kind of needs a little bit of a deep retracement before continuing to the upside. Is this enough? Question mark. Okay, otherwise price may get a little bit of momentum and eventually push towards this level, which is basically what I'm expecting now, this Euro Index to go towards to. It reacted really nicely with this level. This was it. We predicted how this move. Eventually Euro Index starts to move to the upside, and if the Euro dollar does want to continue to go higher, and the dollar yeah, dollar is moving upwards. Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen in here. I could see we did manage to break below that low. I could still see a little bit of the potential of having that deep retracement. Not really sure if this is the one. Otherwise, if price just wants to create momentum and go higher, it can. At this point, this is basically where I'm looking for Euro Index eventually to go there. Even if it goes down, maybe there's a chance to still go there afterwards in here. So that's a little bit of what I'm going to be paying attention in here. Yeah, so again, then looking at Euro pairs to see what's going on in there. And this is the end, which is going to be an important asset to pay attention this week. Okay, so if you have been watching us for a while, you noticed that we were looking for longs on this yen index when price was somewhere in here and in there, which means sells on the individual currency pair, individual yen pairs. And now we had that big rally. Perfect. Price reacted a little bit from this level in the that was still fresh, and then eventually question mark is how price going to react from here, and if we are going to have eventually the big turn, which can be happening with the support of the, again, as you mentioned, the fundamental news that are happening this week, in particular Tuesday morning, or kind of overnight between Monday and Tuesday in there. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't like still these levels at the lows. I'm actually happy to see that price is retracing back towards to this level and the other end pairs close to the highs, because that's going to be a potential opportunity to look for this kind of a move once again, and basically the opposite on the end pair. So let it come a little bit closer. Hopefully tomorrow is going to get somewhere at a good level to look for that long opportunity. It could maybe even go a little bit higher, can react from here one more time and maybe move lower. There's maybe some orders in here still, so it could retrace and eventually push a bit more to the downside, and curious to see how price may react from here. So yeah, focus on the end pairs. Eventually I'm going to look for longs on the end index, shorts on the end pairs in here. Let's see which of the end pairs also is going to be able to provide us maybe the best opportunity to look for those shorts in here. If the Bank of Japan decides once again to delay the rate change and from negative to either neutral or positive, yeah, maybe it's going to create a little bit more of a compression move in here, and then eventually that interest rate is going to change. I think that's just a question mark of when, not if, at this point. So yeah, let the end pairs come down a little bit. There's even a little bit of the extreme in here. Can we even create a new low? I'm totally okay with it if you do create a new low in here and then kind of fake out this low one more time and then look for the long. Totally okay with it. I don't really mind at this point. A lot in here has been compressed, so price could go actually a bit more deeper in here. That's a bit more of where I'm going to be looking for, and from here we'll see. But yeah, it's going to be quite quick. It's going to be already like in the next 30 hours, less than 48 hours. We're going to already see how the end pairs are going to move. We do have this demand zone, but I would prefer to actually price to go a bit deeper in here. Yeah, that's going to be on our radar for this week for sure. In here. Yep, 100% in there. Oh yeah, that's going to be quite interesting to look for. All right, so next, let's take a look at the individual currency pairs then. Let's take a look at the individual currency pairs. And the euro dollar. All right, so yeah, the euro dollar, right? So what happened in here? We were looking for price to, yeah, we're looking for price to fill this range. Actually, eventually I would like to see even euro dollar to go a bit higher in here, which didn't really do that, but it filled this compression, it filled this range, and that's where we were looking for. Since then, it started to print a bit to the downside. Okay, so we already had this low being broken. This was NFP. This was also kind of what we mentioned last week, that NFP behaved a little bit similar to what used to happen, kind of a first reaction to one direction, fake out into the other one, and then eventually follow the first reaction on price. And in here you print kind of what we call a zone 2 type of a move. This is basically zone 1, and this is basically zone 2 type of a move until we start creating this momentum. Now, we are reacting from this level. This is where I mentioned that euro dollar has been reacting a bit better from certain levels comparing with dollar index. But yeah, I would like to see actually eventually moving lower. Why not? If you break below this low, I think you open the door to go a bit more lower on the euro dollar, even though we kind of still have this demand zone. That could happen if by any chance euro dollar wants to respect this demand zone and go higher from here. It can. Yeah, and this is where, again, to be honest, I don't really have the proper bias in here. Price closed this space that you're looking for, so we've been kind of looking for price to do that. It respected. We prefer to see, for example, if price had broken these highs already, I'll be turning bullish in here. So even if price would have a deeper retracement, I'll eventually still look for those longs. But price respected it. Not my favorite level, but price respected it. So yeah, lower time frame, there's maybe something in here where to. Right, so we fake out this level, that's good. I was looking for more momentum on Friday, a bit similar to what happened on pound, but euro dollar didn't really moved that much. So yeah, that's basically what we have in here. Yeah, we'll see. I would actually like to see actually dollar to go a bit more lower and the dollar to go maybe a bit more to the upside in here. We'll see. Most likely we're going to be by Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be the important day around the FOMC meeting. So we'll see where this euro dollar and the dollar index are going to be by Wednesday. In here, yeah, could see if it breaks this level, eventually to continue to go lower. We already have fake out in here. Eventually could feel even all this compression and getting a bit closer to that level. Why not? It could happen. I would even prefer maybe to see maybe a break of low, and then I don't know, something like that could be a scenario, or doesn't even need to have just a deep retracement in there. Yeah, at this point, not really the strongest bias in here. On the euro dollar. Yep. And I needed to provide me a bit more of something to create my bias, to be honest. Yep, not sure. If anyone has any buys on euro dollar, feel free to share. I'm not really sure. I would eventually like to see price breaking some of these levels, or getting closer to one of that. If it breaks this level, then yeah, more bearish in here. There's maybe this level in alignment that price can react from, somewhere in here, which maybe euro has missed so far. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. How many days in a row was this move upwards? It was quite a few days in a row, then reverse. Yeah, we'll see. And they're going to actually see, like, for example, me not really being sure what to look for in here on euro dollar. When I'm going to be talking about Ethereum, for example, we're going to see where is maybe a big difference between a high probability setup versus still trying to guess a little bit maybe which direction actually this move is going to happen. Okay, you're going to notice what's the difference between what kind of moves I'm going to, or I'm trying to find in here. Pound was one that we mentioned. The pound pairs in particular, this particular week, we had unemployment. We had also, was it GDP as well? We're going to have CPI and BOE this week. So again, expect more volatility on the pound. It fake out the level. It is a okay level, again, not exactly maybe the extreme of the extreme, but it's a okay level, and you have all this range in here that price can eventually trade from, and this was a good reaction from that level. So yeah, it was again a good turn on Friday. The price starting to break some lows, so yeah, looking for that continuation to the downside. That would happen. This is kind of what I was looking for on Friday, a little bit of a fake out in here and then continuation. It was not exactly the best fake out. In here we're kind of a little bit in the range. We can even eventually fake out a bit, weapon down, and then eventually continue to move lower. Again, on the daily time frame, this is not a bad level. Okay, that's basically kind of where price is reacting. Eventually can go a bit more to the downside. So yeah, I'm a bit more bearish in here, to be honest, at this point. But you can maybe fake out. We can maybe fake out these highs and then turn. Everything has been spiked already in here, as you can see. On the way down, price already spiked all of it. So yeah, we can maybe fake out this level one more time, get a bit somewhere in here and just continue. Is it from here? Is it from there? Yeah, we'll see. Just something to keep an eye on the pound until maybe price gets a bit closer, maybe towards to this range in here, from where we are looking for in here. So yep, we'll see what's going to happen in here on the pound dollar as well. Yeah, could have that continuation to the downside, which then eventually takes euro dollar downside, can take maybe dollar index to the upside, and yeah, just moving like that in here. Euro pound has been just in a range. Again, reacted from there. We are still stuck within that level. Eventually, if you do break above this level, I could see now continuation. We already had that dip and kind of double low being created in here. We mentioned that it was still fresh. Bigger picture, I could even see eventually maybe euro pound, sorry, to fake out all this structure, getting somewhere in there, and maybe go higher from there. Yeah, that's just something to bear in mind in here. We did start to break some highs, but you'll see it's still in this deep range. If we break above this with some momentum, maybe we can have a continuation and price filling all this have this compression, and eventually can get closer to here as well, right? Let's see if we're going to have that happening. And this, as I mentioned, this week with more data in regards to the pound, that can have a little bit of an impact in here. Maybe this can move away from this range finally, based on what the pound may do. Okay, if the pound benches does want to continue to move a bit more lower, maybe we can have this euro pound finally moving a bit more to the upside in here. Aussie, also kind of good reaction from that level. Broke above these highs, and it starts to move lower. It also has a break below that level, which eventually, bigger picture, is still kind of a more continuation to downside towards there. But in the lower time frame, kind of we're looking actually for price to continue to move higher from here now. And yeah, it's a good reaction. It's not exactly my final target as I would describe it. I would eventually prefer this Aussie dollar to even continue to go higher. This is a good level to have one of those retracements. So let's see from here what's going to happen. I was looking for price to get closer to this level. For the short, apparently price just respected that level. Again, Aussie is going to have interest rate on Tuesday, so expect some volatility as well in here. Yeah, some levels in here to pay attention to on the Aussie. Yep, so that's going to be interesting. Not really, yeah, I don't really like that one, to be honest. Yeah, we'll see in here on the Aussie where this is going to go towards to. Yeah, we are compressing a little bit, maybe a bit more to the downside until we get closer to this level at least, and from here we'll see what's going to happen on the Aussie dollar. Yeah, that's what you can see in there. Yeah, so let it go a little bit more to the downside in here. On the Euro Aussie, yeah, for example, we did broke this low, so eventually you can look for this one to move lower a little bit, and let's see how price may react from this level in here. Okay, so let's see how the Euro Aussie is going to react from there. So a bit more to the upside, same way that Aussie dollar a bit more to downside, and let's see if this is going to be then a continuation down, or if price does want to get a bit more closer to the other extremes in there, which we are still eventually looking for price to go towards to. But we didn't manage to break this low, so I'm considering those, and eventually can look for price to move lower from here and eventually fill out this level in there. Okay, yeah, so that's a nice one on the Euro Aussie to look for, and then you can look at Pound Aussie as well, which keeps respecting this level in here, and we'll see how price may react closer to this level. That's another one that you'll be looking for. Again, bigger picture can even go higher. Okay, hasn't really reached the final target in here. Yeah, this time frame is not bad. So yeah, we'll see how price may actually get closer to there. And from here, we may have a sell opportunity, even though we are respecting these lows for quite a while. But this for me is kind of a breakdown, and eventual price may want to go. We'll see. To be honest, we'll see, because overall this is kind of what we have. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how price may react from here. If it wants to go higher, it can maybe eventually fill out of this, get a bit more closer to that level, or eventually even go somewhere in there. Yeah, but there's enough reason to look for how price may react from here on Tuesday or tomorrow night, where it's going to be there. Yep. And then the yen pairs, and in particular this Aussie yen. My favorite level to have been in here. This is where I wanted to see price reacting from, to look for that long. It didn't really happen. I had this continuation to the downside, and now I'm just curious to see how price may react from here. Again, bigger picture. Okay, this is one of those trades that we've been waiting for a long time, and then eventually happened, the reversal, the fake out of all these highs in here. And yeah, bigger picture, price may still want to go a bit more to the upside. Okay, maybe price still wants to go a bit more in there. Price just reacting from here, which is a good level. So let's see if price does want to go maybe getting closer in here and look for on the short, now that you broke below this low. And yeah, maybe there's a little bit more room to the downside in there. Okay, so price is still underneath this supply level. Yeah, let it go a bit more to the extreme. That would be nice. And then we'll see. Like, again, what we have in here, right? So we have a little bit of a decision, because basically we had the yen index moving lower in the most recent days, which in theory would push Aussie, it would push Aussie yen to go higher, but we had also a negative Aussie, which in this particular case pushes Aussie yen. Second. Yeah, which in this particular case would push Aussie yen to the downside. Like, so we have one pushing higher, the other one pushing down, and all of a sudden you have kind of a range in here being created on this asset. So again, both interest rates are going to be on Tuesday. So expect, of course, volatility on this Aussie yen in here. And we'll see. If we go higher, maybe that's a good opportunity to look for a sell. If price may still wants to react from here, it can. Kind of we have this double low in here. Price didn't really react now from this level, but then eventually towards that zone in there as well. I'll definitely prefer to see price getting closer to the extreme, and from there looking for another sell in there. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see if that's going to happen from here on the Aussie yen. Something to bear in mind. Yep, something to bear in mind. And then we have the dollar yen. And what can we look for the dollar yen? Yeah, what can we look? Pedro didn't share a lot of setups. I haven't really looked at his analysis. With respect to the demands, we mentioned that part. That was a valid level to look for price to go higher. As I mentioned before, I'm not the biggest fan of where these highs reacted from. Okay, I've been waiting all this time for price actually to go somewhere in there, or the extreme of the extreme in here. So for me, dollar yen, if it wants to go there, it can. It will be actually maybe a good level to look for a short in here. So it's been rallying quite nicely. Yeah, trading box got really low in here. It was an amazing long that he got in there. So yes, let's see what's going to happen. I would love to see this highs being taken and volatility and kind of collecting liquidity above that level, and then maybe pushing lower. But we respected this level, so even if we want to just go even higher, we'll see. We have this double top. That's a bit of a concern in there. Eventually price can always take the double top in here. Definitely it can. So yeah, either in here, either in there, or eventually take the highs, and we'll see what's going to happen underneath this level, somewhere inside here. Just look at the higher time frame. What can you see? You have the weekly, okay, kind of a weekly supply in there. Basically maybe this level in there. A lot of this has been already spiked. Basically have a little bit of this level, it's fresh. A lot of it has been spiked already on the way down. As you can see, maybe a little bit of that level, maybe. Yeah, somewhere in there as well. Yeah, so we will see what's going to happen in here. I don't like these highs anymore. Okay, so if price chance dollar yen gets closer to here, either reacts from there or just pick out all of it and go. And somewhere in here, underneath this level, yeah, maybe that's that weekly level. So we'll see. But this for me is not exactly any goof down. Price just respected the next zone. And yep, and has been moving high, and at this point is moving higher. If price had broken this low, that would be a complete different. That would have been a complete different story, and I'll be even happier to look for sales at around this level. At this point, maybe it's going to be just again. I want to see some weakness happening in here. Yes, we are spiking on the way up. Definitely that we are. Price push higher, so we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen around this dollar yen in here as well, which is going to be a big factor. Again, that 150 mark has been kind of quite relevant in here. So yeah, it's going to definitely continue to be quite important. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see on the we'll see dollar yen. Again, it's going to be quite relevant to be able to trade it this week. Between what's going to happen in the Bank of Japan, with the Fed, the dollar. So yep, it's going to be quite interesting. Euro yen. Okay, so this is what we have. Bigger picture, we actually had the break of a low in here. So that's again good data, important. we fill out this compression. So that was one of our targets for the short that we predicted 2 weeks ago. And there you go. Price got there. Price fake out the level, and meanwhile is moving higher from here. So we'll see how price may react from here. There's literally a little bit of a space still towards to the next level if price mentions still wants to go there, but I'm going to be looking for potential levels. Yeah, maybe somewhere in there once again. Since we actually have this break to the downside, this can be seen a little bit as an engulf down, which can be a great eventually new short opportunity to finally have even a bigger move from what we already had a couple of weeks ago on the euro yen in here. Okay, so yeah, pay attention to this break to the downside. That's perfect. Bigger picture in here. Okay, so if the euro yen, in my opinion, hasn't really reached the final destination, if by any chance this wants to go higher and break still these highs, it can. Okay, it can maybe even go a little bit more in there and then eventually move lower. So that's still valid. I'm not going to completely ignore that potential scenario, but from these highs with the right PI, I think that can be a great opportunity to look for a sell. We need weakness eventually on price. Let it go higher a little bit more, maybe retest a little bit this level, come back in here, retest this level, go higher a little bit more, let it go. And if there's anything in here, then you can be able to identify it. And yeah, look for something like this to happen, and you're going to be able to catch that sell. Okay, let it compress a lot, let it actually retest every single demand in here, go higher a bit more, take every single thing until eventually you have the turn happening. Yeah, but there isn't that much time for it to develop like that, because again the news is going to be on Tuesday. Dollar, pound yen. Okay, so pound yen is slightly different. It actually continues to move to the upside. It continues to have a little bit more of a, so it's reacting from the base of this level, can go a bit more into that level as well, and we didn't really manage to break now below this low. Okay, it still respects that low in there. Yep, so that's what we have, and we'll see around this level. I'm not the biggest fan now of this level in here. In my opinion, there was a fresh supply in there and price reacted from it. Now there isn't really much anything fresh in here. There was a little bit of a manipulation created in here, but price has spiked quite a lot of this level. So yeah, let's see how price may react from here, but aside from that, there's not really much going on in here, at least on this 1 hour time frame in there. So we'll see. I would actually like to see maybe fake out one more time before a turn in here. Okay, it looks like that maybe there's a little bit more of room upwards before a move down. That's what you can see maybe on the dollar yen, maybe on the euro yen, maybe on the Aussie yen, maybe in the pound yen as well. So yeah, we may have retest of this level and another attempt to go a little bit higher before a potential turn, which on the yen index, it's still, there's a little bit of space as well to go down first before it belongs. So yeah, I wouldn't mind at all to see that at this point. Again, pay attention to what the yen index is going to be doing and what these individual yen pairs are going to be doing as well. And yes, when you do notice that maybe yen index is ready to turn, maybe these guys are also going to show you the exact same thing, and that's how you can be able to essentially capitalize on that. Yeah. All right. Any questions, guys? Any topics? Any levels that you are looking for? Yeah, feel free to share. Dollar CAD, what we have, okay? So reacted from that level, and we are back basically at the highs in here. Yeah, this could almost be seen as an engulf down kind of into this compression. We have the compression pulse in there, and then there's a space in here towards this level. Okay, so that's basically how we would kind of separate these two zones in here, and price did react from that level again on Friday. Since then you're starting to move upwards a bit, what the dollar index is doing. So we'll see what's going to happen around this structure one more time in here on the dollar CAD at this point. So It's going to react from there. Totally okay if it does. If it wants to go a bit higher, it can do it. It can do it as well. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to be waiting to see how price may react from this level. At this point, we did manage to break below this low, so that's something. Yeah, that's something relevant in here. Price did stay a little bit away from the extremes, which is either kind of there or kind of in here. Kind of these lows didn't really react from all the way. Again, the reason for that is because of where price actually moved in here, so that was something to bear in mind. Yeah, we'll see. Going a bit higher, getting a bit closer to this level, that's totally valuable to look for. In the lower time frame, is there anything in here that price can still react? Yep, there is. So maybe we can have a little bit of a reaction from here and start to move lower. From there, maybe at least targeting this demand zone as the first level, and then we'll see if it wants to go even lower or not. Okay, so we're getting now closer to this extreme. It's a big one, kind of out this range. So we have the lower edge and kind of have a little bit more of the extreme at the highs. So yeah, let's see how price may react from here. To be honest, on the dollar CAD. Yep, we'll see. EURUSD has been a bit of a mess. We have been looking for those sells the last few weeks. Price did make this move and it respected the low, and since then we did mention that there was maybe some opportunities in here to look for sells, but this is where them managing the expectation is quite relevant, okay? Because we didn't really manage to break below the lows. So in terms of targets in here, it can be just a small one before maybe price eventually can create a new high or not. If this one had broken below the lows, that would be maybe a different story, maybe looking for even a deeper retracement. Otherwise, price may just continue to do what has been doing, and eventually is to create new highs and eventually maybe getting closer to something in there. Now, in the lower time frame, during the week, we did manage to break some structure. So we broke that one, kind of we broke another one in here, and kind of getting a bit closer to this structure in there. Okay, so basically we have this previous demand zone in here, which is actually where price end up reacting right now. In there, okay, so we'll see. Again, EURUSD, I could see it going higher, depending maybe on the Euro Index. If it also kind of goes higher a little bit, maybe this one can follow. I would like to see a new high being created before maybe that big turn in here. If price just wants to continue to respect whatever is in here, yeah, maybe it can, but I would prefer to see new highs being created, and then price maybe getting a bit more of a rally once again, and then eventually can correct a little bit. Okay, so that's a little bit more of what I would like to see. Yeah, maybe new highs, and then, or if not new highs, at least maybe fake out one more time this level or all these highs in here, maybe getting to the extreme, even though I would prefer to see new highs actually, and then it could turn in here, which eventually could take us a bit closer to this level in there. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see, but it's another one a bit in the range. Again, we have been talking about, right? So we looked for that short, we looked for the short. Those were the two that we were looking for. At this point, I'm going to be waiting. And curious enough is that the ones that we actually been looking for, price actually moved quite quickly. And everything else now, price actually is not moving that much in here. Right, and this is, I don't know if this is with experience, with his luck, whatever it may be, but in reality it's more of these setups that we are looking, when they happen in certain moments, they tend to happen, or they tend to react quicker, instead of just ranging and ranging and ranging. Like, I wouldn't really like to be involved in the trading here, but definitely I would like to have been involved in the trading here and trade in there, which is something that we did in there. So let's see, let's wait until maybe price gets into the next level in there. And pound CAD, it's a bit more of the same as well. Okay, so we're looking for that initial short. Price just fake out all these highs, and yep, and at this point is reacted from the demand zone, and we need to wait and see if price does break below this level. Maybe we have another move down and it starts opening the door to go there, or if prices keep respecting this, eventually can follow and carry on with the same trend that we have been having in the bigger picture, because we just broke all this structure here. The eventual price can even go above that high as well. So that's something to look for on this pound card. This was a great setup, a simple setup. There you go, high probability setups that we can look for. This is one. It happened on Monday. So we have the fake out of the highs basically, and then you start having this level and you have the break, like this break in here, which opens the door to go at least until there, and you have the retracement towards the supply. There you go, high probability setup into an important level after price just broke this level. There you go, simple, right? And those are actually the ones that we've been more looking for, instead of maybe a little bit on the decision that's going on maybe on the euro dollar or maybe some of those major ones. Yeah, we're looking more for these high probability setups at the extremes, at important levels, and hopefully to happen quite quickly. There you go. So yeah, Surav, you mentioned I see a psychology in trading is so much overrated ever in social media. Okay, I see psychology in trading so much overrated everywhere in social media. Trading is probability. Of course, it's important, but it's more about price. Yeah, the question 2010, right? Or even 1090. Again, this is where it comes into. That's a really good question. Yes, it can be. Eventually trading eventually is going to be, or you're going to get to a phase in your trading career where 100% you are going to be your own edge. Okay, I don't really like. We are always our own edge, but there is maybe phases in your journey when you are starting. It would be unfair to say that you already are your own edge when you are still learning, when you are still in the process of maybe the understanding how price action works or understanding how the market works. Maybe you don't even have a proper strategy that you are trying to execute, a strategy with edge as well, which is important, right? So if you are still kind of in this period, it would be unfair for you to say that you are already your own edge, okay? Because you at this point you are not. You're still in the learning period. Now you can start developing some aspects of yourself, and this is maybe where mindset comes into place to help you to accelerate that process and to get into a stage where you are ready to trade properly in here. Okay, so again, this is 6 months, 1 year into at minimum into your journey. Now, when you get to the phase where you already know what you are looking for and you have a strategy that maybe backtested, maybe you are confident and in theory it works for you, and this is where now it starts to appear the big divergence between what you are expecting and what actually you are getting out of the market in terms of results. And this is where you may get into this break-even dance or even still losing money in here, right? And when you get to this phase, yes, psychology, or if you want to call it psychology, that's going to be one of the most important parts, right? Because it's not going to be just by having the technical side of it, of understanding how the market works, that's going to allow you to be the best. Okay, there is plenty of amazing analysts that when actually it comes into trading may not be as it may not perform as well, right? And this is where having these two mindsets, it's important. But it's important to separate them, like the analyst mindset and the trader mindset. Okay, if you are someone that just literally likes to understand the market and then understand every single move of the market, where it reacts from, and so on, that's perfect. But are you actually able to execute on all those moves? Like, are you actually able to extract money from the market from those price movements? That's a big question mark, and that's actually where then psychology or kind of yourself it comes into place. And this is the trader's mindset, not the analyst. Okay, so yes, eventually you being at the edge is where maybe that what people mention about psychology, that's where it plays a big role. Is it 10-90% the fraction? Is it 20%? Is it 80-20, 70-30? Who knows what the percentage is in there. Yeah, but that again, it should be like, but that's why it's one of the hardest things, because we are human beings. We have feelings, we have emotions, we are biased, we are greedy, we have FOMO. Like, we have all of those situations. Like, we don't just come up in here and just maybe be disciplined and just follow whatever you should do. Like, if you had a bad night, if you are tired, you are going to behave in a certain way. If you are happy, if you have an abundance mindset, you are going to behave in a different way. If you are more examples, like if you have an abundance mindset versus a fear mindset, you are going to see the market differently. You can have the same knowledge in terms of transaction analysis, but then you are going to see differently the opportunities that there are in the market. It comes a lot into your limiting beliefs as well. What you think about success, what you think about money, what you think about being right. Are you trading to satisfy your ego, or are you trading to make money? Like, all those questions come in place, and that's where then people tend to bring mind psychology into trading. Now, many people may just consider psychology as the issue when they still don't have their technicals and their strategy in place. That's a mistake. Okay, even if the ratio is 20-80, and if 20 is your technicals, you need to know 100% of your technicals. You need to know 100% of those 20% in order to even consider with the other ones. Right? Don't just know 20% of the 20% and then think that just the issue is the mindset. Okay, no. You need to know your tactics. You need to know your strategy. You need to know exactly what to do in certain situations. Create your rules. Get to know your weakness. Create rules to fight your weaknesses in there, right? So that's it's easy to blame just mindset, it's so easy to blame just a mindset. But do you have rules in place that actually are here to help you? Again, this is where the journal that I'm creating and eventually going to release, it's to focus exactly on that. Is to identify you, is to help you to identify where are the mistakes that you are making within your own trading. Okay, yes, mindset is a big part of it, and I will still also include mindset, but not just mindset, performance wise as well, consistency as well. Okay, but look at your own trading. Okay, what are the aspects of your trading that you are making? Where are you making mistakes? Where is your weakest point? What is your strongest point? Okay, not many people are tracking that part. I'll be revising the journal hopefully the next few weeks before the end of this month to help to track exactly that data. Okay, to actually bring clarity on what mistakes you are making in your own trading. Is it the analysis? Is it the execution? Is it the trade management? Is it the entry? Is it the target? Which aspect of your trading actually you are making most of your mistakes, and where is your strongest point in there as well, and how actually then you can start preparing yourself and finding solutions to whatever weakness you have and how to improve them. Okay, that's going to be a big part, and that's usually the first part. The technicals are usually the first part. Okay, but start having good habits as well, like building up good habits. Even if you have a small account, start building up those habits, because that's going to help you to then, when you start scaling up, then you're going to be able to approach trading in a better way as well. But yeah, that's everything is important. Everything is important in there, and in the end, you are your own edge. Okay, that's something that you need to understand. Is whatever beliefs you have about the market. That was actually a question that we had, not a question, a conversation we had this week with one of our traders as well. It was about whatever beliefs you have in the market. The market is going to reflect that back to you. Okay, if you are positive, the market is going to show you the good opportunities. You're going to be able to spot the opportunities. If you are upset, if you are in a revenge mode, if you are a risk off, it's going to be hard. Maybe you're going to feel indecisive, not really sure which direction the market is going to go. You don't see the opportunities, or you only see the opportunities after they happen, not before. And yeah, that can that's going to affect your performance in here. But yes, yeah, moving along. Pawn cut. Yeah, pawn cut, we'll see. If it goes from there, if it breaks the lows, it opens the door to the downside. Yeah. What else? Where were we? Dollar franc Swiss. Alright, dollar franc Swiss. This is one that we were looking for as well. Yeah, just curious to see how price may react around this level. We didn't really got to the extreme in here, so maybe we can still go there. We did manage to break a little bit more of this low. So maybe kind of closer to this pattern in here. Personally, I would still carry on thinking that I would like to see this high being taken, because price breaking this high starts opening the door for price to go higher, even if after that we have that deep retracement, but we can then look for something like this in a bigger picture on our franc Swiss. Okay, so I would still actually like to see something like that to happen, for this high actually to be taken, this structure in the reality to be taken in here to open the door to go higher, and eventually opens the door for price to go closer to that level, even if after that we have another big retracement from here. But yes, we still have that level in there, so we'll see what's going to happen. From there, we start having a little bit of a bearish move in here, but I think price may still wants to go higher. And pay attention to what dollar index is going to do. That can be interesting. So yeah, we'll see in there. Then gold. Okay, gold. It's another one with all-time highs. Okay, and at this particular case, it's yeah, it's quite recent. There's maybe still more room. This is a little bit of the range that I'm looking for. This is another way of showing some weakness in here. In there, I still believe that eventually we're going to have maybe new highs being created before we eventually show that potential complete reversal in here. But we'll see. Middle lower time frame, it's a bit of this range that we are trading. Okay, yes, we do have this previous high that maybe price already reacted from it. Price continues to react from there, and I'm just curious to see if price is going to eventually feel this price in there. Okay, so that's a little bit on gold, and we have even the chance of price getting a bit more into here, maybe before going higher. Yeah, we'll see on gold how price may react from here. It was not exactly the asset that I've been trying to trade in terms of this all-time highs kind of a setup, but you start having, like, you start again. Something else that we can look at is this, like, in terms of weakness. And in terms of creating some kind of a range that can be eventually manipulated, is if you have this kind of a move, okay? A quick one that you can actually create a range in here. Okay, then maybe wait for this high to be faked out, and all of a sudden you can have price trading around this level to push down. After price fakes out the level, comes back into it, and now it's trading within this range. Okay, if you do have one of those quick moves, aggressive, creates a proper high, proper low, and maybe wait for that high to be taken, and you can look for the trade. You can either test this level, or you can even go lower than that. Okay, so that's another one, signs of weakness that we can look for in this type of opportunities. And everything I'm saying in terms of all-time highs, you can apply also when it's not all-time highs, but wait or look for those kind of behaviors when price is getting closer to something relevant on the left side in here. But yeah, so we'll see on gold if price does go there or not. We'll see. And then oil was a good one. Okay, so this was another one that we've been looking for, and this is an interesting one between oil and actually Brent. Okay, so yes, we noticed that the space was there. We noticed that we were looking for price to break below this low, open the space to go there, react from either in here or come somewhere in there, fill this space, and then go higher after that. Okay, that was the move that we were looking for in here on oil, and it happened. Like, again, the good part, not the good part, the interesting part about this level is something that we can pay attention to when you have two high correlated assets, which can be S&P and NASDAQ. It can be DXY and Brent. It can be maybe between euro dollar and dollar index. In this case, it's the opposite. It can be maybe Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe in here. And what I mean is exactly this level. Can you see that DXY reacted from here? So it didn't really reacted from this demand zone. Okay, and as you can see, the reason for that, if you actually start diving into here, you can actually see that price have this level, it has this level, and this level starts to become important as well. Okay, the reaction from here is important. Yes, the demand zone is still there, but price can literally react from here. Price didn't react it from there. Okay, price left this level behind. There's no touch at around this level in here. Okay, so yes, price could just react from here, or eventually, and my favorite would have been closer to here. Okay, again, this level is already reacted from, so that demand zone has been taken. So we're looking for price in here or in there. You need to be aware of those two. Okay, so that's DXY, and price where it goes to, it just reacts from there. You can see that basically we have all these lows in here ready to be faked out, and again start bringing some highs in here, and you have the turn. Okay, again, don't forget we already had broken these highs first. Okay, we had already broken these highs, so already looking eventually for that continuation, and that's a beautiful level price reacted from. So that was DXY, and then of course price reacted back into this same range in here, whatever, and you can see the left shoulders in there. Okay, but the spike happened in there. Look at this one now. Okay, so we have exactly the same thing. We have exactly the same move in here. All right, so we have exactly the same move. This is Brent. Okay, so we reacted from there, double top, price goes and creates this range in here, right? So we have this level, same thing in here. What we have as well, we have these lows, never reacted from it. Okay, we have exactly that. There's price in here, price never reacted. So we have that level and you have that level. Okay, this was the level I had before on the DXY. There you go. What happened in here? Okay, so price goes. Look at this. Okay, this low initially reacts from this level, where eventually this one reacted from. Okay, you can see that this low on the DXY stayed quite higher. And this, yeah, so this low on Brent reacted from eventually this low on DXY reacted from, okay, in here, which is, where am I? Sorry. Yeah, so this one reacted from here. So now this is taken, and now the next one is that one, right? So we start breaking highs, wherever we go, and then yes, when eventually this one now reacts from there, the other one only reacts from here. So basically on DXY, this level may be still fresh, whatever. In the future, whenever price decides to come back in here, maybe this level is still fresh. And in here, this one is kind of no longer fresh. No, this one is fresh, but this one is no longer fresh. Okay, price basically reacts from it, and eventually, who knows where price is going to go to, or you can actually have this KM zone in here. Okay, so price whenever it reacts from here can just react from this level, because this is already kind of reacted from here, and you have basically KM in there, and you have this lows to fake out, and this one we have basically already price reacted from the KM, but now we have this level that is still fresh in here, and whenever price comes here, maybe you can have fake out this low and maybe react from here and go from there. Okay, again, it's just interesting to see how basically the same level, same almost correlation pairs, almost 100% correlated, but is reacting from the different levels, and where to expect price to actually react from them. It's just interesting to see. Okay, yeah, so good reaction, again, move to the upside. That's where we have been positioning ourselves as well for quite a while, and there you go. At this point, let's see how price may react from here. If eventually starts to break even higher, then we may have even a move a bit more to the upside on oil. We'll see. Again, yeah, somewhere in there, again, situation macroeconomic in the Middle East and whatnot. It's going to be quite interesting. It's going to be a super interesting year with elections and so on. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen in here. And actually today I think there's elections in Russia, which again Putin is going to win no matter what, but yeah, who knows if that creates any volatility in here on oil. Yeah, that's a lot of what we wanted to talk. Yeah, this the last one, right? Just to finalize with Ethereum and the high probability setup that we looked for this week. Okay, so this was actually this was basically what we were looking for on Ethereum in the beginning of this week. So we were looking for this price to be filled. This was a good target that we initially were trying to look for. Again, some things needed to happen before eventually price get to this level, but that was something that we had on our radar. Okay, in this particular case, we actually started by looking at what target can we look for. Of course, one of the first ones, it will be somewhere in here. Price had already broken this level, so we're looking for Ethereum to get closer to this level to fill this price now. You can see that price is already turning a little bit like this, and you have that move. What else did we actually notice on Ethereum? And this is another way to find high probability setups. Doesn't mean that you need these specific characteristics to look for high probability setups, but what we defined, actually, looking at the weekly time frame on Ethereum, we were having already 6 consecutive weeks. In reality, when you were looking at this setup, the candle was actually bullish, so we're about to have a 7 consecutive bullish candle, weekly candle on Ethereum, which is quite rare. Okay, you can go back, you can pay attention to how many times in the past you had more than 6 or even 7 consecutive bullish candles, weekly candles on Ethereum, and it was almost never. The only time it was here. Okay, it was in 2019, close to 2020, just before COVID, and those candles were actually quite small, actually comparing with what we have in here. We have 6 in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, big sell-off. Okay, we have kind of 4, we have in here as well, a little bit, price moves down, we have a little bit in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, price goes down, and whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, a little bit down, and in here it was basically the only time we had 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, actually maybe 8 in there, even with these ones, and that was the only time. Okay, anytime we have kind of 6, 7, we are expecting a retracement. What else did you notice? Beautiful level on the weekly time frame, where actually price was reacting from this level. It was beautiful. Okay, so that was another aspect that we looked for. Okay, it was a valid supply level. Price eventually can go higher, 100%, but on weekly time frame, it's a good level. Okay, and we had that again, as I mentioned, 6, almost about to be 7 consecutive weekly candles in here. And then what we have, we start looking into the lower time frame, or kind of the most recent price action, and you start seeing also some big sell-offs happening in here, a little bit in there, in here, a little bit of a few lows being created. So we see a lot of weakness already being created, similar to what I mentioned in the beginning of the stream when talking about all-time highs. Again, this one is similar, but it's not all-time high. In reality, it's actually reacting from a good level on the left side. And you have a target. Target is it's a really important question as well. Okay, so we started from having this bias, okay, to have, wait, this is the other one, no, sorry, to have this one. Okay, so everything played out. You can see that level that we had initially as a potential target, it's broken. Price broke below it. It opens more room to downside, and we had the retracement. Okay, so we can continue to look for more sells in here, because this one actually broke to the downside in there. And there you go. It just continue, and that was the sell. The kind of 2 attempts to look for sell. One is straight away on the first image that I mentioned, and then it was the other one in here after the break of this low. Somewhere in there, there was another opportunity to look for another sell, and you finally reached the target, and price even went slightly below the target, which can now even go a bit more to the downside. Who knows now, we'll see. But yeah, maybe we can have a little bit more of a move to the downside in there. But that was exactly what you're looking for, right? How to find high probability setup. Sometimes it's exactly like that. Look for price to be so at extremes. If you want, some people may use RSIs and stuff like that to look at it. You don't even need that. You can even just look at the candles. Look at the price creating maybe 5, 6 consecutive bullish candles, either on daily time frame, either on weekly, and then you start going into the lower time frame, start realizing how price starts to show actually some weakness, and then it's about time to find that reversal. Again, the pattern is quite similar. It's gone another range a little bit, and we have the fake out. You start really noticing how price is behaving in here. That was the setup. Actually, this is one of the main setups that even some of our guys also took on Ethereum, and that led, when you are looking in here, that actually led into Bitcoin, which was another one that you're looking for, and this one was all-time highs in here. Okay, as you can see, again we have the big momentums, and you start having the big retracements in here. Okay, so you start noticing again big sell-off in here, and then price goes a little bit higher. We have a break of a low in there, and you have a big turn in there, and that was the turn as well. It goes into alignment with then eventually what Ethereum was doing, and that was actually the opportunity to look for another the sell in here on BTC. Again, careful. This was a target. We're looking for this compression eventually to fill, especially after price broke this low. It kind of confirms that price maybe wants to eventually go all the way and fill this compression, and basically that's where price now reacted over the weekend. And we'll see, actually was looking for price to go a bit more to the downside, but maybe this level is enough in here. Yeah, this is basically the demand zone decision point in there. And then we have this one, but this is the one that breaks this high. It's okay, it's valid. Yeah, that's how to try to look for high probability setups. It doesn't matter which asset it is, if it is the majors, if it isn't. Like, just by looking at having this higher time frame analysis, you can start noticing some stuff, and those are the ones I'm actually trying to catch, to be honest. If there isn't really a proper direction, and as you can see, usually then price tends to move quite nicely in the direction without really fighting too much. It just goes. It doesn't range. It's not in the moment where I'm looking for price to spend kind of 2 weeks just in the range before maybe moving. I don't want to be involved in this. Okay, I want to actually start noticing, get that weakness being created, and start throwing those reversals and try to be on the first move down in there, and then just wait for the next one. Yeah, that's basically it. Again, eventually Bitcoin 100% still going to create new highs. It's going to go, even Ethereum eventually is going to go to break the 4,900 or 5k mark, which is the all-time highs. Eventually can get there. Also, crypto total market is getting closer to a good level. That was another one that we maybe it's time to see a little bit of a retracement before then price can go and create new highs. That was another one that we're looking for, and that kind of supported the idea also to look for those sells on crypto. Yeah, so that was basically it in reality. Yeah, and we'll see now what's going to happen. Yep, so yeah, that's it basically. All right, it's almost 8 p.m. All right, thank you guys. Any final points? Time to go basically rest, and yeah, tomorrow starts a new week. All right. Yeah, just to summarize, indices, I'm a bit bearish, at least until the Fed. It's going to be till Wednesday, and there is maybe another opportunity to look for a sell if by any chance NASDAQ goes all the way to the highs. The N pairs is going to be one of the main ones to look for this week. Eventually, I want to see it going a bit more down to the downside, the N index, and then move to the upside, which is going to take, the individual N pairs to the downside. And that's at least the opportunities that I'm going to be looking for. Dollar is going to be an interesting one to see what's going to happen, especially around on Wednesday with the FOMC. Okay, are we going to get a bit more to the upside in here, or moving a bit lower? We'll see. I still need a bit more clarity on the dollar to see exactly what may happen. Like, in my opinion, you are kind of in the middle of the levels between breaking these highs, breaking these lows, and now kind of retesting a bit of this level. So higher time frame, maybe a bit more to the upside, maybe a bit more low time frame, maybe can go a bit more down, or you can just literally resume the move upwards from here. We'll see. We will see what's going to happen, and yeah, Ethereum may retest still a bit more the highs. There may be a bit more room to the downside also in here. Okay, actually this was one of the targets that we're looking for. Yeah, we'll see. From here, maybe can resume. Eventually, I'm expecting also Ethereum to break all-time highs. Yeah, and Bitcoin kind of more of the same. Oil, maybe a bit more to the upside as well. Yeah, we'll see. Yep, we'll see. All right, so thank you. Good questions. Thank you again, Saraf. Yeah, those are good questions between psychology, all-time highs, and the importance of everything. Have a good one, and yeah, have a good trading week. It's going to be a big one. Thank you. Bye bye.